In my last video, I was talking about the second worst, or the game that didn't deserve a sequel. This is part two of that video, or of that series, where I talked about Watch Dogs in one video, and the other video is gonna now talk about Assassin's Creed Unity, because that game is shit. The reason why it's shit is because the actual story, the gameplay, the graphics, and the overall AI of the game, and not even going to talk about the glitches. They just were terrible, right? So let's get into the first point, the story. The story was terrible because it was this love story that Ubisoft had tried to create. Not this love story, this story where the main character Arno is trying to enact revenge on the Templars, because the Templars had killed his adopted father, even though his actual father, his biological father, was an assassin. And it was an interesting story until you actually heard Arno speak. And the reason why Arno is just not a good character is that he tries to be like a mixture of Connor and Ezio. He tries to have Ezio's swagger, but he doesn't, and he tries to have Connor's morality, which is a terrible system. And those two combinations create this terrible mess of a character that just is terrible. It's borderline laughable to see Arno in the game just try and act like he has swagger, which he does not, and tries to have some sense of morality when he's killing a bunch of people. It's ridiculous in that extent. And then you have his the the good versus evil part of the gameplay, where it's seen time and time and time and time and time again, over and over and over again, in the Assassin's Creed universe, where you have the assassins be the good guys and the Templars be the bad guys. Except in the what was that game called? It was Assassin's Creed. It was Assassin's Creed Rogue, where it was Assassin's Creed Rogue, where you play as an assassin that becomes a Templar, instead of just playing an assassin, and you get the point of view of a Templar. But it's like, and Ubisoft was trying to imply that there's two sides to this story. The problem is that it's like human enslavement versus human freedom, right? You have like human enslavement down here, human freedom just all the way to the ceiling where you can't even see it. And it's obviously which one is better and which one is worse. In Ubisoft, it's kind of like the BioShock Infinite game, or those two aspects of the story, where you have the white supremacists and the African Americans. It's like both are trying, they're both trying to present, or they're both trying to show that there's evil on both sides, but really it's like the white supremacists are are the bad guys. And I have a personal bias because I'm black. But back to Assassin's Creed Unity, the gameplay was a hybrid of microtransactions as well as the older style of gameplay, where you have, square, slash, 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 triangle, counter, and it doesn't automatically execute here, which does add some depth to the gameplay. And there is some tacticality to when you should use your pistol, because your pistol can kill, or it can insta-kill most enemies. It can't kill these really big guys with these hammers that are swinging them around like monkeys or apes. And you have to adapt, and you have to say, all right, maybe I should use my pistol here. It's all worthless, by the way. It only matters, like, it's not even based off of Arno's skill. It's based off of your actual weapons and items that you have. So if you have really shitty armor and a really shitty sword, your rank, like your actual rank in the game, is going to go down because of that. And if you have really high armor and really high weapons, it's going to increase significantly. And it's not based off of skill. It's not based off of story progression. It's not based off of anything besides what items and weapons you have, right? And that rubbed me the wrong way. I hate microtransactions in $60 games. It's the most fuck you a game developer can do, really. It's just like slapping me in the face, man. It's like, I give you $60 for your game. Here you go. Then I just get slapped in the face like that, right? I come back strong. Come back strong from abuse, because I take a lot of abuse on a daily basis. Sad face, feels bad, man. But the gameplay was microtransactioned, and it was made to make a profit, to make more of a profit than it really should have, and it sucked. It did. I have problems with microtransactions in video games, but as long as they're justified, then I think that to an extent it's okay. Don't see a reason why microtransactions should be in $60 games, but man, Assassin's Creed Unity, the microtransactions, they just sucked, right? Now the problem is that they got rid of a very important system in the game that was just pivotal to really the success of the Assassin's Creed universe, and has not been replaced to this day. Not in Syndicate, not in, that was it. Just Syndicate was released. It's the naval combat. The naval combat was a saving factor of the Assassin's Creed universe. They didn't replace it whatsoever. They didn't replace it with any type of new, innovative combat. They didn't try and the co-op sucked. They got rid of the multiplayer. They were like, okay, we're going to focus on the main story, and they did, and it just sucked. And the naval combat was just the most redeeming factor of the game, and they didn't have it in the game whatsoever. So you're left with this pile of festering shit on the sidewalk, and you're expected to go out and play basketball or kickball with it, and it's just not fun because you get dirty and messy, and like after you're done playing with it, you have to go and take a shower, and you're like, that wasn't really fun. That was just disgusting, disturbing, and unfortunately not funny at all. And unfortunately, I had no, and unfortunately, it was soul crushing. It was soul crushing to see a game get get hyped to such levels after Black Flag. It's like, okay, this isn't Assassin's Creed 3. Maybe Ubisoft can pull something back. Maybe they can actually do something great with this game, and they didn't. They didn't do it at all, and it blew ass when it was released. I was surprised that IGN gave it a 7. I was not surprised when other people's scores were lower than that. It was heartbreaking, to say the least, to see a franchise go so high, do this pretty much. Like, and Black Flag kind of was bringing it back up, and then just Assassin's Creed Unity just brought it back down to shit. So the last thing that was in the game that was just blew ass. Now, again, I'm not even going to talk about the graphics, because the graphics for me weren't really the main problem. It was the story, it was the gameplay, it was two of the main facts, or the two of the main aspects of the game that really, that really games are built from. Like, that's the foundation. It's gameplay and it's story. And if you're really not if you're lacking both, it's kind of like, what do you have? It's not. It's just terrible, right? But the last thing was the glitches in the game. Like, I had experienced the face glitch again. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about it, but the final thing that I actually want to talk about, I have a notebook here, is the AI. The AI in the trailers looked like it was very intelligent, that it was a riot, so to speak, and that riot would interact with you in a very positive way. If you provoked the riot, it would go in, kill the British guards, and storm whatever they're protesting. Like, if they're protesting outside of Notre Dame, they would kill the guards, then storm into the church. If they were protesting in Versailles, they would kill the guards, go into Versailles, etc., etc. The problem is that the AI was just this clusterfuck of people, and it was more of an obstacle to get around, and it just did not fit well in the game. And again, like, the problem is that Ubisoft tries to stick very historically accurate to the game, and the problem is that that's not necessarily great gameplay wise. Like, the triangular buildings in Assassin's Creed 3, and the long and high buildings, the long alleyways and the high-rise buildings weren't necessarily a great concept in Assassin's Creed to really just build upon, because assassins can't jump like they're frickin' Superman across just like the across just alleyways that are like 50 feet long. And it's like, what do you want me to do? Just steal? What could you steal? Could you call a horse? I guess you could, but it's like the chases were just terrible in that game because there wasn't any rooftops for you to explore or to use to your advantage in that game. And the same thing kind of went for Assassin's Creed Unity. It had these very long, oh god, it had these very long alleyways that really, it's like once you got into a rooftop, you were semi-screwed unless the AI just broke, like it usually does in Ubisoft games. But I think that's it. I think I'm kind of done talking negatively about these two games and about this company. I said I actually had boycotted this game. I was thinking, I was like, I'm going to boycott this game developer because they are just shit. But South Park: The Fractured Butthole is coming out. Cannot miss that game. But leave a like, comment, share it, subscribe. And for the one person that is watching, and the multitudes of other people that are watching, maybe it's just two additional people, 3 people, whatever, I hope to see you in the next video.